Turns out Halloween is still coming to Walt Disney World. Restaurant has temporarily closed at Epcot. There's some new security screening procedures going on at Hollywood Studios, and it looks like Disneyland, when and if they reopen, well, they're going to have an annual pass holder problem on their hand. How are they going to deal with it? All that and more. It is August 8th, 2020. Kingdom Report Live starts right now.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Starting as always with a beautiful look outside at the Disneyland Resort via the HojoAnaheim.com cam. You know what I enjoy more than anything? It's seeing that Matterhorn. It's seeing Space Mountain. It's seeing that magic. I don't know about you, but I can't wait until we are back in action enjoying it for ourselves. Hello, everybody. Wade Heath joining you here from the Warner Brothers Studios Media District, just around the corner from the Walt Disney Studios, just up the road from the Disneyland Resort, bringing you an all-new Kingdom Report Live, covering all those Disney Parks news stories that you need to know, and giving you a dose of perspective as we go about it. Who's we, you ask? Let's meet that team. From AttractionFaction.net, Katrina Manzone and Tyler Crouch.
Hi, everybody.
Aloha.
Hey, hello, aloha. Look at my vibe today. I'm going on vacation. I don't know where.
You look like you're ready for summer.
I think that's true too.
Is that
I'll
it?
give you that as well.
You know, it's almost over.
Staring at I miss the Matterhorn a lot.
Yeah.
I really do. I just was thinking about it. I was like, man, do you think Harold is lonely up there?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Sometimes I think I hear him roar from across the city, and I'm like, he just wants to be heard. He just wants somebody to hear his roar.
Oh, I miss him.
Is that your favorite mountain, Matterhorn?
I think space is my favorite mountain.
Oh.
But for some reason, I'm missing Matterhorn right now.
Yeah.
Even though it really hurts your back.
It is a rough coaster.
Yeah, definitely made back in the day, and you feel it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But you put up with it because it's a classic.
And because I love Harold.
And Harold mostly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And coming to us from his bunker one last time in the middle of the country, it's Walt Disney World reporter Gared Hassel.
Aloha, everyone. I wanted to feel festive and match Tyler's shirt, so I went with the female Disney Cruise Line hat that I have on. So
Glamorous.
I want to take that off. I wanted to feel fabulous today, since it's the last time I will be filming in my studio here, called Ariel's Family's House. But hope everyone's having a great Saturday. But the best mountain of every mountain that Disney's created is Big Thunder Mountain at Disneyland Paris. That is the best one by far. Nothing beats it.
You know,
Well, some of us haven't been to Paris, Gared.
Nope.
I was lucky enough to go to Disneyland Paris. I'm sorry, guys,
I was
but
not.
but the sad part is while I was there, they were doing all their renovations, and Big Thunder was closed. So I actually have not got to do the Big Thunder over
Can
there.
we get
So
a sound effect for that?
I know.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, so sad.
The worst. Well, we'll have to live vicariously through you, Mr. Hassel. Thank you for that. My goodness.
Absolutely. I'm here to help end your woes with my stories.
And coming up with another cup,
Oh, yes.
it's Curt's Cup Corner in the production dungeon. Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, I have a mug today.
producer Kurtz. What do we have here
That
in
looks
in
pretty
Mugville?
new.
Yeah, it was purchased just a couple weeks ago, actually,
my
at
gosh.
Downtown Disney. It's
I
the
smell the
65th.
freshness.
Yeah, it's right. It's ready for me.
That's the 65th anniversary mug.
You
Yeah.
gotta show the handle, though.
that.
That's
Yeah,
how
it's
it's
got the-
made. Yeah.
got the D and everything.
Oh my! Oh wow! See, with your hand on it, you don't even notice.
And the other side's got the 65th.
Oh, exclusive merchandise.
I love it.
Disneyland merch is so much better than Walt Disney World merch. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. Like Disneyland just has that 50s aesthetic, and the Walt Disney World has that 70s.
It's like exactly the same.
Not
It's
that,
exactly
no, it's not the
the
exact same.
logo.
No, but like when you see like Walt Disney World, you have the block letters or whatever. But Disneyland, you've got
Oh, so you're just saying
Oh,
like
the
the
font.
logos, like the
Yeah.
logos. They
yeah,
use.
yeah. The
Okay.
Disneyland
logo,
logo is
Walt
just
Disney World
legit.
Got it.
is,
It's like the best.
is inferior. Yeah,
You got to come see it the next time you're out in California. You should come see us.
I'll work on that.
I like the sound of that. Yeah. Well, friends, it looks like Walt Disney World has extended their health and safety measures on over to the Disney Resort hotels as well. So in addition to being temperature screened on the way into the theme parks, you're now going to be temperature screened on the way into resort hotel dining options. This is, I think, very interesting when it comes down to enhancing those health and safety measures across Walt Disney World property. Definitely something that I kind of thought they were doing already, but it looks like this is a newly implemented procedure. So now a cast member at a table service dining environment at Disney World Resort hotels will be taking your temperature just as another added measure to ensure that everybody is remaining as safe and healthy as possible. Katrina, this is, again, something I kind of thought was already happening, but nice to know that this added layer has been added.
I'm happy about it. I was with you. I kind of thought they were already doing it. I thought that they discussed it already, but maybe that was because of the what park opened? Hong Kong, and I think that's what they were doing was temperature checks at the restaurants over there, but not here. So this is like an extra like check off the list of me feeling a little bit more relieved going to the resorts over there, just because. I mean, you can have a reservation. You not necessarily have to go to the parks, but you could still have a temperature, and you still could spread it there too. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, a lot more locals are, arriving with dining reservations who may not have access to the theme parks. And so knowing that they are arriving to Disney Resort hotels to perhaps have a meal, this is just one more added layer into the mix to ensure that everybody is remaining as healthy and as safe as possible, healthy and as safe as possible. I know that the temperature screening only goes so far. We've heard many times that it's just one of many symptoms that could potentially be something that someone has that might be a carrier of this global bastard of a virus. So we know that it doesn't stop it, from happening outright, but it's nice to hear that extra layer is there as a just in case. We also heard earlier this past week that it appears multiple businesses across Walt Disney World property have unfortunately had to apply for the Paycheck Protection Plan program loans. It looks like millions and millions of dollars for this Paycheck Protection Program. It's a mouthful. PPP. When it comes to filing for these loans across Walt Disney World, a lot of the third-party outlets have had to do so. Everything from Restaurant Marrakesh in the Morocco Pavilion to Arabius Brothers to Raglan Road, the Frontiera Cocina in Disney Springs. Lots of different locations have had to apply for this added support, as so many organizations have across the country, looking for just a little bit more in terms of cash supplement, down to ensuring that they can keep their doors open and that they can keep paying their people. Tyler, this is something that definitely feels like an unfortunate reality of what we're seeing, not just in Walt Disney World, but across the country. And to know that a place like Disney World, that has always, I think, been seen as a very sort of strong, location in terms of revenue dollars, and there's this captive audience and stuff like that. For 4.5, 5 months, many of these places, some haven't even reopened in Disney Springs and the like, but for several months they were closed, and now even coming back, it looks like they're still not seeing the demand they anticipated.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely not. But I mean, I think what it really illustrates is just how expensive real estate is at Disney Springs. I mean, that is not going to be cheap for sure. So obviously these businesses rely on there being a constant flow of people to even pay that rent. But it's interesting, like a place like Frontiera Cocina, because that place, they sell a lot of like frozen foods and salsas and stuff like that in the grocery store. So it's kind of the same thing with like where we talked about CPK filing for bankruptcy. Like, I'm still kind of surprised because I thought that they had their hands in like a couple different things just besides the restaurant business. But I guess if your restaurants are not doing well, then that's the bottom line, really. And I feel for them. That's horrible. But hopefully they get back on their feet. That's all we can say.
Yeah, San Angel Inn over at the Mexico Pavilion, Cafe Rick's at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resorts. I mean, it's more than obviously just your Disney Springs. I mean, this is like widespread across the property. Katrina, you wanted to weigh in?
I was going to say that I know Raglan Road was like definitely hurting, and they're talking about it on Twitter, like right when the quarantine happened, that they were even offering gift cards. So they knew people were going to come back. So they're offering, I don't remember if it was like an extra $10 or something for every like 40 you spent or something. It was some kind of deal where it was like a legit deal. Like tons of people bought them because they're going to reopen, but they were trying to like capture that money, and they didn't know how long it was going to last, this like shutdown. So I think they stopped it after like the first month, but because I think they were pretty much like losing money because of that deal. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Unfortunately, yeah. And Gared being, the Walt Disney World guy around here, a lot of these businesses are, sort of hallmarks of the experience when it comes to the Walt Disney World vacation experience. Any of these names surprise you, or did you come across any that made you think, wow, I thought that they were, already doing so well?
Well, when the parks are open, they are booming businesses. For me, the biggest surprise is it just shows how many of these restaurants and dining and bars are not owned by Disney. Like Raglan Road, we know that that's third party, but inside the parks, it's really surprising because some restaurants are, some aren't. Because if you do not know, Disney has sort of two colors of identification cards. They have a blue card, which is for standard Disney cast members, and then there's a green card, which is for third party. So I was really shocked about in the Mexico Pavilion, the San Angel. That place really interesting because that's prime real estate right there. Raglan Road, I feel for that one because that's a favorite spot of mine. When the parks were open and everything was normal, it was great to go there and just watch the Irish dancers go out there and have a nice little drink or have a nice evening. So it's sad, but I have no doubt that they will come back to life in the future. Disney relies on these guys bringing so much for them. So I think it's a mutual like struggle for Disney as well as these vendors. So my heart goes out to them, but I have no doubt they'll bounce back. But it's sad to see these key attractions, so to speak, having to get the PPP.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the optimism, but, it's not certain that they're all going to bounce back. I think at this point we're a little concerned. We've seen some layoffs come to Walt Disney World, and, not to be a downer here, but with all of the limited capacity that is allowed in the theme parks at the moment, that also limits to a great degree how many restaurants can accommodate, crowds, because sometimes there isn't even enough crowds to accommodate, and it comes down to the idea that some of these restaurants just can't get by because it's not financially viable to do so. And we learned that this past week when we heard that Tangerine Cafe at the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot has temporarily shut down now. This joins a list of other locations that either just didn't reopen or have shut down early. I think at Epcot in particular, Tyler, this is a location that has a food and wine festival modified version going on right now, which I think is steering a lot of anybody that's hungry on over to that. So those quick service restaurants and those outlying restaurants in the countries that do have them open probably aren't seeing a whole lot of business because there's a festival just a few steps away.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. The Tangerine Cafe one really bums me out because that's one of my favorite quick service places in all of Disney World.
I love it, yeah. Delicious.
And yeah, I mean, they've got great stuff there, and not even just like the hot food that you can get, but they also have these nice little confections and stuff. They've got really good like baklava and stuff like that. So it's a huge bummer. I mean, but you're right. I think that's a good point, Wade, that the festival is probably steering people away from using those quick service locations. And there's something about Tangerine Cafe that I feel like it's never really that crowded.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure why, because it is great. Maybe just because it's like unique food choices that
not burgers and fries.
Yeah,
maybe?
It's not burgers and fries, which has always been the weird thing to me. Like, as a little tangent, real quick, that like we have such variety of food at Disneyland. And then in Disney World, it's like, oh, no, people just want burgers and fries here when people from all over the world go to Disney World. It's a weird thing. But anyway, that's a little tangent. But I'm sad for Tangerine Cafe. really huge bummer. Hopefully they open up back soon. I mean, times are weird.
Yeah, you're telling me. Gared, Katrina, have either of you ever enjoyed a meal at Tangerine Cafe? We'll go to Gared first.
I've enjoyed many a meal there. Sometimes I'll just go in there and ask for some bread and some hummus, and I'll just snack on that. It's a great location because if you're a people watcher like I am, you can just sit there and enjoy the sun on you and watch the people go by like it would be if you were actually in the Kingdom of Morocco. So it's sad, but man, that place is just, Morocco is probably one of my favorite locations in World Showcase just because it's so unique. And where, I don't know, just the architecture and the people and the cast members, it's just a beautiful location. So
and that fountain has such great drinking water in it.
Yeah, I always make sure to get a scoop of that. But
you always got to get a scoop of that fountain water.
Absolutely. I like to recreate scenes from Aladdin in the in that area of World Showcase. However, cast members are not a fan when I steal a fez and start stealing bread. They don't like that very much.
Garrett can show you the world.
That's all I've wanted in my life.
Yeah. Hop on a carpet with Gared. Katrina, any gluten-free options there that you've ever partaken in?
No, I think I've had like a couple bites of his hummus before when he would get something to go, but yeah, no. I think they didn't really have like enough options over there for me, so I just like moseyed over to the USA and got my gluten-free. I know I'm gonna like go his whole burgers.
Yeah, you're proving his point.
But I just would go over and just get like my gluten-free chicken nuggets and fries.
You and your chicken nuggies. That's you.
I was like, well, it's like close, right? And then I would go to Morocco and get my mimosa royale though. So there you go. But yeah.
I get why you want to get chicken nuggets, though. I mean,
can't
you
get
can't.
chicken nuggets
She with the gluten allergy, it's hard for her to get chicken nuggets.
Anything
so.
fried food that's gluten free, I'm like, heck yeah, I'll go.
That's another reason we love Raglan Road so much, and it's a bummer to hear bad things about them because they have such a great gluten-free option or menu options like fish and chips and onion rings, and you can all get that gluten-free. Which is anyway. Yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
Well, thanks for weighing in. And as one Epcot restaurant kind of fades away temporarily, we are receiving one in return. So this is good news. Teppan Edo of Epcot and the Japan Pavilion is coming back online. It sounds like August 24th is the return date for that. Exciting news on that front to hear that Teppan Edo will be back in action. Katrina Tyler, is this a restaurant you're pumped about?
This place so much.
It's so good.
Doing my little happy dance.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a great place. Again, it's like really tight quarters though. I mean, you're pretty much like back to back with people. So I mean, obviously they're not going to do full capacity at the moment. So they're definitely probably going to hurt in the long run, but I'm really happy to see it back because that stuff's delish.
Yeah. Another great restaurant. I think it's maybe my favorite restaurant in Epcot. Probably. Yeah. It's in the top 3 at least.
I mean, it's still.
No, it's on my. I do like me some Le Cellier, but anyway.
It's true.
Yeah, that's a great place. And
yum.
You get a lot of
food. It's
food.
Open.
It's like you literally go for lunch and you're not hungry for dinner. So it's just like you get like 2 meals in one, and it's
chow down.
Divine.
You got to get that yum sauce, y'all.
Chow down and roll away.
Yeah, exactly.
He rolls me down the stairs. I'm like, all right, let's go. And then he just like pushes me down the stairs.
Yeah, thank goodness you walk up the stairs before you eat your meal, because if you have to walk up those stairs after the meal, it would not be good.
Yeah.
And we are hearing from WDW News today reporting that this restaurant is likely scheduled to be reopening August 24th. It's not officially listed anywhere yet. It does sound like this is kind of second-hand information from cast members, so we're passing it along right now as a rumor, not necessarily anything that is finite. It very well could be delayed by a couple of days, maybe even weeks, we'll see. But it sounds like cast members are back in action preparing for Teppan Edo to come back online. So I'm looking forward to seeing that restaurant back in action. Some other news that we want to get to when it comes to the Walt Disney World theme parks is the sudden announcement, and not even really an announcement, more of a listing, and people are learning about it as we go, and that is that the Walt Disney World theme parks are trimming their hours for the first time since officially reopening back in July. It looks like going into September, there are going to be some changes when it comes to certain theme park operating days, trimmed by an hour or two here and there based on where you are headed. Already, these theme parks are at a reduced hour capacity, especially for summertime. We're seeing that right now, Epcot opens at 11. I mean, it doesn't even open earlier than that. Everything seems to be staggered, by the way. So you have Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park opening up at 8 a.m. You have Magic Kingdom opening up at 9 a.m. You have Epcot, as I had mentioned, opening up at 11. And then it sounds like you have Hollywood Studios opening up at 10. It sounds like now Epcot is going to be trimmed by a few hours at the end of its operating day. You have Magic Kingdom that's also going to be trimmed both at the beginning and potentially the end based on what's happening. So just knowing that a couple of hours are being trimmed here and there going into September, I don't think necessarily, and it's good to have context here, typically going into that time of year, September to begin with, hours do get reduced. So we want to be clear that that's normal. However, hours are already reduced as they have gone through their phased reopening process. And this is something that if you are looking to plan a trip to Walt Disney World during this global health crisis and you're planning on spending that money, it seems to go back into that category of like, oh, well, another reduction, another check in the box of maybe this isn't worth it after all, because now my park day is even more limited than before. It sounds like September 8th is when that goes into effect. Katrina, what do you think?
You don't need a full day at Hollywood Studios anyway, so that's a positive note. But Epcot kind of surprised me because they're closing at 7.
Yeah.
And normally they stay open until 9, and I always loved staying in until like the very, very end until they're kind of like scooting you out, being like, all right, it's time to go.
The security guard starts standing at bridges.
Yeah, because it's just so peaceful. But and again, yeah, if you're a first timer going to Disney World, this is not a good time to go. If you're an annual pass holder and you already know what you're gonna do for the day, it's gonna be better for you. Ticket prices are still the same, but again, with people with like the reduced capacity, but then like the real like reducing in time too. People are still getting on rides, and then I'm seeing people say that they've been riding the same ride multiple times over and over and over again. So don't think that you're not going to be able to get on all the rides just because they're like reducing their hours. I'm sure you're still going to be able to get on like most of the rides that you want to go on. So yeah.
There's that. And Gared, knowing that a lot of these parks are now going to be reduced in some hours here and there, from the perspective of somebody who is an annual pass holder and who already is limited in how many days a month he can attend a Disney theme park in terms of overall experience, does that deter you at all, these reduced hours, or were you already just dropping in for a few?
I don't think it deters me. It saddens me, but the way things are, you can definitely do the parks in that short amount of time. Heck, Hollywood Studios is only a half-day park, honestly. So even with reduced hours, I'll still be able to get everything. As long as you can get on Rise of the Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, you're pretty much going to be able to get everything done. But as an annual pass holder, it really stinks, that's the scientific word I'm using, that I can only get 3 reservations at one time for Walt Disney World. So it's sort of a gamble where do I try and reserve stuff in the future, but then I don't get to go as often, or do I roll the dice and be like, okay, today I'm going to go to Epcot for the 5th time in a row. Let's do that. So it's really tough for annual pass holders, but annual pass holders aren't the ones that spend money in the parks. Annual pass holders just go for a few hours like me, check it out, and then they go home. So
got to eat at the restaurants, man. You got to support the restaurants now.
I might have to do that finally. I might have to start spending money at the restaurants. So it's okay that I just hope that with them shortening the hours, they're using that extra time in an effective way, such as disinfecting, wiping down, cleaning, doing repairs, so that way we don't have more incidents with attractions or that sort of thing. But it stinks. It really does stink. So hopefully, the worst part about it is that I'm going to get there when the sun is up, and I'm going to leave before the sun even goes down. I used to do it where I could go home at 9 and it'd be nice and cool. Now it's just hot nonstop throughout the day. So that's really bad.
Yeah, that's a huge plus, but definitely something to consider if you are planning a trip to Walt Disney World at any point in the coming months. Obviously, things like park hours can be adjusted on the fly, so it's important to always check the My Disney Experience app and WaltDisneyWorld.com ahead of your trip before making any big plans. So just something to keep in mind if you are planning out any sort of trip in the near future, that hours are going to be reduced starting September the 8th. So we are going to see some reductions on both ends, morning and night, depending on the park. All right. It looks like, according to WDW News Today, they've reached out to a couple of different individuals on the front of the Disney chat bot that you can speak to a cast member when it comes to the website itself and the My Disney Experience app. You can speak to a cast member on the go if you'd like. And you know what they're saying? They've asked outright, is Halloween coming to Walt Disney World? We've learned recently that the Halloween parties at Magic Kingdom have been canceled, obviously, but cast members on multiple occasions, upon WDW News Today reaching out and asking about it, confirmed that Halloween decorations are coming to the Magic Kingdom. And so this is something we're celebrating, something that's great to hear, because this has been on a lot of people's minds. A lot of the Disney diehards that are super excited about the idea of potentially visiting in the fall. You know, there is something very special about Walt Disney World during that period of time, Halloween in general. We've learned, you know, obviously Universal has canceled all of their horror parties, and Halloween's a big business for a lot of these theme parks. And so to know that Magic Kingdom is still at least going to decorate, I think is really nice to have that added. Plus, because it's a sense of charm, it's a sense of magic that's added on top of everything. And I mean, to a greater degree, Tyler, I think it's a sense of normalcy.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I'm stoked they're doing it. I think that's like kind of an easy thing. I feel like they should definitely do that. I don't know why they wouldn't. So I'm glad they're doing it. I'm Christmas too, because I mean, the only reason to go to Hollywood Studios during Christmas is to go and see their Christmas decorations. So you know, I mean, I love the Echo Lake stuff and everything. So I'm sure they're going to be doing it for Christmas as well. But yeah, it's a sign of, it's a good sense of normalcy, like you just said. So I'm glad they're doing it.
Do you have any sort of Halloween traditions, you or Katrina, when it comes to Florida? I mean, obviously a lot has been canceled. But...
Yeah, unfortunately, most of my Halloween traditions are canceled. But yeah, we don't really do. I'm trying to think of anything.
Halloween Horror Nights, and then that's my day to sit back, relax, and grab a drink and sit in the hotel room and chill.
Yeah.
And we would go
Rest my feet.
we would go to like Not So Scary and stuff like that, which kind of. I hate to say it, but as time went on, I felt like it was becoming more repetitive to us.
Oh yeah,
so,
Disneyland's Not So Scary, or like Not So Scary. That's not the
yeah,
world
Oogie
name for
Boogie
it.
Bash.
The Oogie Boogie Bash was a lot more charming than at Disney World. We did it for a couple years, but then we realized the candy at Disneyland is way better than the one at Disney World, and you get
1,000%.
tons more.
Yeah.
So we just kind of we did it because it was fun to do all the rides, because a lot of people were getting candy. We would watch the Halloween. I love the fireworks show for Halloween, and I love the parade.
And I think
what we did.
The Sanderson sisters were a really good reason to go to Disney World. I think that was probably my best reason to go to Not So Scary is the Sanderson sisters.
It was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, the first time I saw that show when they first brought them back, I was like, it was like being a kid again, because that Hocus Pocus movie is fantastic.
That Bette Midler impersonator is
so
good.
They're also good. They're also good. Like, it's almost like you're almost thinking like, is that Bette Midler? Like, you know, like I've definitely thought.
It'd be so funny if it was. If she like popped out, she's like,
Yeah.
"Hi guys."
does a cameo.
It's like what Johnny Depp did in like Pirates, you know, that kind of thing.
I would like that
would
very
be
much.
so
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
I wish they would do some Sanderson sister stuff out here in Disneyland, but
With Oogie Boogie.
yeah, and Oogie Boogie makes an appearance in their show, so
Yeah.
they should make an appearance in an Oogie Boogie show.
I
Let's
think
do
that
that.
would be really
2021.
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Make it so.
Yeah,
Here, here. By
That's it.
royal decree of Katrina.
I like it.
Wow. Oh.
Oh, that was
Oh my.
I
that was like an off with
Oh.
your
I should
head.
show you
That was like
One
a-
more time. Oh God.
That was like a Queen of Hearts movie.
I mean, I
right
feel
there.
that right here when she does it. I don't know about you. Jeez. Ripple effect. Huh. Well, in other news, it appears that Hollywood Studios Park has a little bit of a different way of entering. The contactless screening process has been brought to Disney's Hollywood Studios. We saw this rolled out at Disney's Animal Kingdom upon reopening, and first before that, we saw it over at Disney Springs. Basically, that whole touching your bags and going through stuff and it being a very intimate security experience is no longer the case at not only Animal Kingdom, Disney Springs, but now Hollywood Studios. And you see there that in that image if you're watching. Obviously, it's kind of a wide open area. You've got some panels to either side of you that detect whether or not you are going through with anything on your person that you shouldn't have. And so it's something that's definitely been a lot more helpful, it looks like, to anybody that has visited the parks that might be carrying things in a bag or might be, walking through with a bunch of stuff. And it's hard for those parents. They have to unpack everything because it's a whole 10-minute process just to get through their stroller and just to get through all the little nooks and crannies of their bags. You see now a video playing from the company itself that has gone to great lengths to install these across Walt Disney World property, and it kind of gives you an idea as to what you face when you walk through at a theme park or Disney Springs now. And it's definitely something that I think we've talked about before when we saw these were first being added. Seems like something that should have been in existence a long time ago for the sake of huge crowds at the Disney parks because it just saves so much time. It's a lot more efficient, it appears, and seems to be quite accurate according to at least everything we have seen reported and been told, and definitely tracks a lot of people coming in and out, has those close-up camera shots of folks as they enter, and so there's even an enhanced security mechanism to this. Gared, knowing that Walt Disney World has now added this to 2 theme parks as well as Disney Springs, are you looking forward to seeing this in other parks? Because I think from an efficiency standpoint, this could be very beneficial.
I am very excited about this. When we first talked about this a few months ago, I was ecstatic then, and I'm even happier now that it's actually being implemented even more. I think it's a complete game changer because I know that was one thing that so many guests complained about, like, I don't want them to go into my bag. That's my personal space. And especially now with COVID, I don't want them touching stuff, possibly spreading COVID if they were to come into contact with it. So I'm very ecstatic about this technology being used. I only hope that they will put it into the other remaining parks out there and possibly the water parks when those do reopen 2025 maybe. But I still go back to my original idea that I pitched months ago about how I would love for these to become themed, like matching the motif of everything, not just being like white and blue, but maybe having Mickey Mouse dots on there or something to that degree. But overall, security going in this way in a more innovative way is something that I think the former CEO, Bob Iger, would go for, because when he joined the team as the CEO, he talked about wanting to use innovative technology to its advantages. And I have no doubt that he's probably happy, or maybe he was the one that pushed this idea, but this security is definitely far superior than I think what they were doing in the past, because if the machine is really, really accurate to the 99th percentile, I'm down for that. Soon Disney will become more efficient than the TSA. That's how I see this thing going.
And Tyler, this is something that I think from a guest service standpoint too seems to be really helpful because you're not having to have that really like personal interaction with somebody wearing a badge and having to go through your stuff, which can feel invasive depending on what you have in your bag. And it from an efficiency standpoint sounds good, and then from a service standpoint sounds great. You want to see these things show up at Disneyland?
1,000,000,000%. I usually say 1,000%. Today, 1,000,000,000%.
A billion.
Yeah, no, I really want this. This is just, and especially because we've been to Downtown Disney a couple times now, and it still is weird. They put like a little plastic barrier up on the table now, but that's like, what is this even doing? The guy still has his hands in the bag and everything. So, and as somebody who often would take a big bag of cameras and tripods and stuff to Disney, this is just like my dream come true. But can we really trust this company if they don't even know how to spell evolve, though? That's my question. No, but in all seriousness, though, I really am excited for it, and I just really hope that they bring it over to Disneyland. I'm assuming if it goes well over there, we'll probably get it. Hope so.
That would be nice. I know that those security screening processes coming online for now 2 theme parks and Disney Springs are something that can only serve a place as busy as the Magic Kingdom when it's hopping and when it's in full swing. That can only be something that helps absolutely everybody from a cast member standpoint, a security standpoint, a guest standpoint, just to be able to sort of walk through and move about without any real stopping, without any real reason to have to slow down, is going to make for such a better experience. And obviously Disney is one of those places that has so much emphasis on that guest experience and ensuring that you walk away kind of feeling like you weren't necessarily put up against a wall in terms of security, and made to think about security, because for the longest time, and we've talked about this prior, for the longest time Disney didn't even necessarily want a bag check for the sake of that clear and obvious reason for having it, like for people to see that and go, I hope there's not a problem here. I hope there's not an issue. I hope nothing's going on. And, we've seen it evolve into more than just a bag check, and, metal detectors, and things sort of increased over the years because it had to, out of necessity. So to know that an appliance, I guess, like this exists, a piece of equipment like this exists that can just have you flow on through, and you're none the wiser to what's being seen and detected, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a savior. I mean,
yeah.
I as a bag holder myself, it's sometimes annoying because the lines get very long, and then you get the groups of people that at Disney World, they don't know that it goes on both sides of security. And so they all line up on the same row right behind each other, and then they go, oh, and so I'm like technically next, and then they're like, oh, but all these people are with me, and then there's like 7 people going through, and then they have to check those bags, and then there's parents, they have to have snacks and bags and whatever, so it's just like a bagception thing going on where they just keep pulling out bags, and I'm just like, so I think this would be like really, really great. And then plus I just don't really like people like touching my bags all the time because they have to go. I mean, if whoever owns bags, there's little pockets everywhere, and they have to go in every single like little pocket, open up your sunglass case, and then so it's just, I think it's just so much better for them to do this, and I can't wait for Disneyland to do this because right now they have to go to they have to walk through this dog smelling area. And then you have to go to the security bag check. And then there's this like plexiglass with this like little slot. And you have to shove your bag underneath the slot so they can look at it. And then they shove it back underneath. And you're like, well, this doesn't make any sense.
Katrina, to add on to you, I think we should count ourselves lucky that Disney went with this new innovative technology that doesn't know how to spell the correct word over doing what, say, TSA does, which is putting it in an X-ray box and scanning it, because that would have just taken up more room and probably would have decreased the amount of security lines that there are. Rather than having 20 security, you'd only have 10, because at TSA, you see how big those machines are. So I think if this technology works just as good as everything else, then I say keep going in this direction. And hopefully this becomes a trend, not only with Disney, but around the United States as a start.
Yeah. Get it in Epcot, man. I saw that line this morning. It looks insane.
I will say that, like, Universal Studios has been using X-ray machines for quite a while now, especially in Florida. They were using it for much longer than they were in Hollywood, and that's what I thought I wanted. Like, I wanted Disney to do that, and then now Disney's like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna Disney this up.
We're gonna evolve, if you will.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
They probably know how to spell it right, and unlike the company that makes this. But anyway, thank you. Thank you, Curt. But yeah, it's just one of those things where, again, I used to bring camera bags and stuff like that, and they were like utility bags that had like a bunch of different pockets, and I got into disagreements with the security sometimes. Oh, you're not allowed to bring that in, and I'd be like, well, actually I am, and it would be like, no, I don't think so, and then I'd be like, okay, well, let's call the lead over, and then the lead would be like, you're fine. Why are you stopping this guy? It's happened so many times. So I just hope that sort of thing can be squashed by this new technology.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it will. It's already proving to in so many different capacities across Walt Disney World property. We look forward to it coming to hopefully Disneyland upon its reopening. I mean, now that there's all this ample downtime, maybe they just install it now. I mean, I'm just saying, it seems like Downtown Disney has some pretty reduced hours during the week. Might be time to come on in overnight and install some things.
What?
Well, might be better
they
for
do
everyone.
Some magical overnight things every now and then. I think this is the moment to do that. Magical
Hit that
overnight
pixie dust
thing.
button.
Yeah.
Yeah, my gosh.
There's a button?
There is. Yeah.
You didn't know that? Oh.
There it is. Curt has the button.
Sound that it makes. Impressive.
That's the button. Absolutely. But it's great to have this company on board with Disney and these huge guest enhancements happening. We couldn't be more proud of the company for making this decision. It's definitely good for everybody. Select Disney World Resort hotels are set to be a part of a phased reopening in the coming months. This could be a sign of things to come. As we have now learned, it seems that We are looking at a string of hotels that have currently been closed to the general public. Some of them have Disney Vacation Club offerings already online. So if you're a Vacation Club member, you can stay there. But general use is not something that you can book. So it looks like coming up, we are seeing August 24th, Disney's Yacht Club Resort coming back online. September 21st, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. October 4th, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. October 15th, the Coronado Springs Resort. And November the 1st, Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Katrina, this was something that kind of was an indicator, at least in my mind, that, and obviously things can change and have a lot recently, but it seems as though there's some confidence that there is going to be some additional capacity on hand in these coming months, to the point that they're going to be able to justify opening up hotels. I think that's the important thing to look at here. So to me, that kind of means that they're going to increase capacity because they're going to need a place to put people in terms of stays.
And
what do you think?
they're lifting the travel advisory now, where at first they said that, you should not travel, period, for for leisure and stuff, and now they're lifting it. So, I mean, Disney's making the right move to start opening these hotels, because they kind of need to.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the Polynesian open again. And
Me too.
yeah, right?
Feeling it.
I kind of forgot why, and then I was like, oh, yeah.
More ways than one.
Because I love Trader Sam's.
He's wearing a Trader Sam's
Yeah, that's
shirt. Anyway, so
cool.
So cool.
Thank you.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that I'm really excited to see these hotels open again. So they kind of, I'm hoping that they see a spike in people coming in, just because, people are getting antsy. They want to travel. They want to go do something. So I just hope that they are able to open these and keep them open, and not, have a decline or something, you see a big drop. So I just.
Yeah, we'll see, but I think it's definitely a good indicator that there's some anticipation that crowds are going to be increasing through the fall. So that means that reservations are likely going to expand, so that you can come and visit the Walt Disney World theme parks and have more of an opportunity to do so. It's not going to cut you off at any point and say, hey, this park is full today, as it is currently. So we look forward to seeing those hotels come back online. Disney's Art of Animation Resort, I feel like I had a situation in mind where I had originally booked earlier this year for Disney's Art of Animation. It kept getting pushed out. And then eventually I just got the call that now it was going to be pulled entirely, and it's going to be opened late fall is what they said. And look at that, November the 1st is the date that they have listed. So it'll be great to have these hotels come back online. Gared, anything to add?
Yeah. Yes. So the reason why these hotels are coming back online is because, if you do not know, currently the NBA has created a bubble and uses many of these resorts for their teams, their media, and all that. But beginning August 17th, that is when the NBA playoffs begin, and it's a 16-team playoff. So pretty much any of the teams that did not make it, those guys are going home, and I'm guessing that they were staying in some of these resorts. So because teams lose and people got to go home, they're not going to keep the losers around. So
no one wants them to
get
stay.
rid of the
So they're already
losers.
knowing that everybody staying at yacht's going to lose on the 24th.
Yeah, so it sounds bad, but thank you to the teams that are losing, because that allows us to have our resorts back. But thank you for keeping them clean.
Thank you, losers.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's exciting to get these resorts back, just because I'm a big fan of the yacht club. I can't wait to walk into the yacht club again, because the Yacht and Beach Club, it's not the same when they're not together. They're sister resorts. So let's get those back.
It would be nice to see. And this has been your sports report. Thanks, Gared.
Gared's Lock.
Gared's Lock. Sports report. I feel like there should have been a.
I was waiting for a sound effect song.
Just
Give me more advanced notes.
play the Price is Right thing.
Sports.
No one wants sports on it.
That just sounds sad. Like sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All amped up to see these hotels come back online officially for the general public, because that's an indication that Disney sees crowds returning, which for them is a fantastic thing. Hey, if you haven't done so already, make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Make sure you like this video, whether you're on Facebook or over there on YouTube. Ensure that not only have you hit that subscribe button, but you're giving us the thumbs up in case you like it. If you don't bother. Just, it's okay. It's okay. We hear you. But make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really helps the video perform. It really helps more people find us and gets more people their Disney news picks. More Kingdom Report Live, straight ahead.
Hey Kingdom team, do you need more magic in your life? We understand, which is why we connect you to more of what makes you happy 3 times a week. Catch our theme park coverage, vlogs, and reviews every Tuesday and Thursday. And experience the Kingdom Report Live, streaming every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. That's new content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, crafted with you in mind. Don't miss out. Be sure to subscribe and activate notifications at The Kingdom Report on YouTube. And catch every update throughout the week at Kingdom Report Live on social media. See you there!
Kingdom Team all call time. Questions, answers, you got them, we got them. It is time to get to the forefront of what you need to know. And if you haven't done so already, you can submit your question over at kingdomreportlive.com. Submit via the form there. You can also leave your questions down in the comment section of whatever video you might be watching, whatever platform, I should say, you might be watching us on. Today's question comes to us from Black Widow Sister, and she asks, Universal Parks and Resorts has suffered over a 90% loss in revenue so far in 2020. Disney was closed even longer and is still closed in California, so their loss will probably be worse. What do you think this means for U.S. theme parks moving forward? We did see that Universal Parks and Resorts did suffer a 94% loss in revenue due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't know necessarily how a company survives a 94% loss. It sounds like they were going to be in a very bad financial situation for a long time to come on the other side of this, and hopefully they are able to weather through it. And this all depends, of course, on whether or not people really start traveling again, whether or not people really start feeling comfortable with the theme park experience. On the Disney side, we did learn this past week via the quarterly earnings call for the Walt Disney Company that Disney Parks experiences and products did lose over $2 billion in the third quarter. This is historic in terms of loss, and one that I know we were all kind of clinching and knowing it was coming. You know, we all knew that this problem was going to arise eventually, and the number was going to come out. I'm concerned, obviously, that with this huge loss, the company's going to have to make some dramatic cuts to find their way back. There was even a discussion in the quarterly earnings call from current CEO Bob Chapek, as well as the analysts on the line, that there might be an additional $1 billion loss already projected in the next quarter just to deal with COVID-19 issues. This is a hard thing to even consider because Disney's never suffered a loss this big, this fast. Katrina, what do you imagine the company's going to look like moving forward, because they're going to have to make some dramatic cuts?
I mean, we're definitely going to lose a lot of, I feel like, some kind of excess, like, you know, entertainment. We're probably going to see them cut, and we're going to see a lot of, sadly, cast members cut, and then we're probably going to see ticket prices get spiked up. Food prices are going to spike up to try to make for that different, like, loss. And then they're going to, like, jack up the hotel prices too, because they're going to try to get those people to stay. And, you know, you're not going to see any deals anymore. I don't really think that they're going to do any kind of, you know, buy a day. Like, you know how we used to have the Southern California ticket deals. You would buy, like, what, 2 days, and you would get, like, the third day or something.
Sure.
You know, you're probably not going to see those anymore for a while. And then even, like, you know, Universal Studios, like, they still haven't opened their Hollywood location yet either, and they're going to lose a lot because, I mean, like, I know Tyler's probably going to talk about it, but Halloween Horror Nights was, like, their cash cow.
Yeah.
so they're going to lose.
They made as much money for Halloween Horror Nights as they would for an entire year.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard something very similar about Not Scary Farm.
Yep.
And how that is obviously a huge cash cow for them, but that it generates more revenue than anything in the calendar year. And, we hear that not necessarily by anything official, but it's definitely something that seems to be well known in Southern California, that's why they pour all their resources into Halloween.
Yeah. And on top of the, over in Florida too, speaking of Universal again, they were set to do their Epic Universe park, their third major theme park over there, fourth if you want to really be kind to them. And they are probably putting that on the shelf for a very long time. I've heard rumors that because Nintendo was supposed to go in Epic Universe, I've heard that now Nintendo is planned to go into one of their existing theme parks. This is just rumors. I don't know. But to answer the main question this is going to be a massive loss on basically all fronts for the U.S. theme parks. Everything Katrina said. And even when you think about places like Epcot, that we already know about some of the cuts that have happened to Epcot. We're not going to get Mary Poppins. We're not going to get the new Spaceship Earth.
And let's talk about even cruise ships. They're supposed to release a new cruise ship. Like they had 2 in the works, and what's that going to do for Disney? And then all these other people that work on the cruise ships, you can't cruise until probably November 1st, maybe.
Yeah, they keep pushing out every sail date, and they keep canceling every sail season right now because how many people, even if they reopen, to a point where they have an option, how many people are really going to feel comfortable jumping back on a cruise ship?
Yeah.
This is, I think, more than anything, cruising at this point is something that kind of instills some fear in people because it's a petri dish. It's not even all that open air. You're kind of contained.
Disney lost a lot for all of their expenditures, Alani, any kind of resorts that they had, any kind of cruise ships. It's just, it's heartbreaking to see. And then down the future, it's not going to be cheap to travel anymore. They're going to try to make up costs somehow, and you're not going to get that full Disney experience that you once knew, most likely for a while.
Yeah, and even we've talked about it in the past, but just to get more granular too, with the Avengers Campus opening up, a major component of Avengers Campus was kind of the live entertainment aspect of of meeting characters and seeing the stunts and stuff happen above you. I'm not even sure they're going to do that stunt show at this point.
They're going to have a chicken sandwich anymore.
Oh, they don't. Don't even. They better have a chicken sandwich.
Size.
That's all I care about with Avengers Campus, to be honest. That
kitchen
chicken sandwich
better exist, and it better have a chicken sandwich.
Exactly. So don't even get me started. Anyway, but in all seriousness, you're supposed to go and meet Doctor Strange, and he's going to do a little magic show for you. And is that going to happen? Can that happen anytime soon? I don't know. So it's crazy that they built expectations in this way for Avengers Campus that are now kind of, we see from Disney World, going to be impossible for quite some time, because of all the social distancing, obviously. And they can't have their characters wearing masks. Yeah. So, what are they going to do? Yeah. So it's going to be, there's the answer to your question is everything is going to change.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. So. It's a really hard, and I prefaced it obviously with that. This is a really hard loss. And it's something that, the story in general is just, it's a downer of a story for sure. Because there's so much loss for the company, and as we mentioned, even for places like Universal. And we want to make clear, obviously everyone's hurting right now. Everybody's going through this together. Most companies are in a terrible pinch if they exist. Some didn't even come out of this on the other side okay. And as companies start to reopen, as businesses start to reopen, they are scrimping and saving for every little thing. But a company like Disney, Gared, who you often say Disney will always be here. Disney will always be around. You can always experience Disney. Most companies can't take huge hits like this repeatedly. And, they might be able to weather this storm, but who knows what is still to come. We don't have an end date for this global pandemic. We don't have an idea as to when people are going to fully come back to Walt Disney World, feeling comfortable again traveling. And, huge impacts like this when it comes to loss, it's not sustainable for any company.
No, it's not. And to add to my much earlier point, Disney's always going to be there. Yes, it is, because those buildings are going to be kind of hard to remove. It's going to be kind of hard to take down a cast. So,
hey, they did it at Epcot.
There, yeah. But I'm deeply saddened by the Mary Poppins attraction. Probably never seeing the light of day. Man, that just breaks my poor little heart. But the way I like to look at it is Disney is a huge institution, and luckily they have many facets of them. They don't put all their eggs in one basket. They have movies, and luckily Disney Plus is sort of the thing that's saving the company right now, because people are at home, they can watch movies, and they're about to release Mulan onto Disney Plus, so that will save them some. But luckily, since the Walt Disney World parks are open, it's like they've got a boat with a bunch of holes in it. It's still sinking, just not as fast as it was before. We can only hope that the cure for COVID comes about, and that is what will save this sinking ship that we're all in, called Disney. I'm going to remain hopeful, because Disney is an institution, and I would like to think that the government, if they saw Disney crumbled, that they would step in and help them out, because Disney is responsible for so much tourism and so much air travel that I'm being very optimistic, but Disney is, I think, almost too crucial for the government to let crumble. Just you think about how just Disney is everywhere in our lives. You look at pictures and from childhoods, and Disney's always there. You see Mickey Mouse everywhere. So fingers crossed. It does look bleak, but who knows? There could be that son from Lion King and like maybe we'll see Chapek lift or Iger lift Chapek in the air, and things will seem right. Who knows what can happen?
Things will never seem right with Chapek in the air. I'm not okay with that.
But
he ain't no Simba.
Oh, we found our.
This has been Gared's Report.
This is Gared's Report.
I will tell you that, at the risk of not, sounding overly dramatic here, Disney has a long way to go before it crumbles. So I don't want to make it sound like, it's going to just collapse on itself. But they're going to have to sell off some things, I think, in this process. Bob Chapek, the CEO, has mentioned several times that, the expected demand, the pent-up demand that they were kind of counting on for Walt Disney World didn't materialize to the degree that they expected. He said this in the earnings call. But they are anticipating that more people are going to get increasingly comfortable with it in the coming months. And, we've talked about recently that with more and more resorts coming back online and plan to be coming back online, it looks like that's kind of where they see things going. I see that too in society right now. I think a lot more people are ready to just figure out how to live with this until it gets figured out, how to safely occupy their time and how to live in this, I hate the term, but the new normal, because that's what we're having to deal with. And so I know that Disney has a lot that they can do to mitigate, and they will. I don't anticipate that Disney is just going to collapse under itself right now. I think there's a long way to go before that. But a $2 billion hit just in one business segment is so crippling. Yep. And now I'm worried about, us losing potentially more in the parks. Epcot had that huge, and we've mentioned it obviously, but like Epcot had this whole grand overhaul that was coming. And we were all so amped up about all the new goodies, and Epcot was finally going to get this attention. And as Disney park lovers, it's hard to see and know that so much of that extra shine that was going to get put on such a special park is now going to go away.
Yeah, and one of the worst aspects about that too is not we can be sad that we're going to miss out on some new fun and stuff, but I just feel bad for all the people that were clearly working on these projects that they don't have anything to work on now.
Yeah,
and
right.
What are they going to do? They're going to they're going to get furloughed. I mean, that's the bottom line, that a lot of entertainment people are going to be in a lot of trouble, and that's really kind of more heartbreaking to me than losing, the attractions for my own enjoyment. I feel bad for all these people,
Yeah, I know that's the other shoe to drop, and I don't want to, dogpile on the negativity here in this story alone, because it's just such a sad story. There's really no positive or silver lining with it. And so I definitely don't want to, continue adding the weight to it because it's true. I mean, I think that's the other shoe to drop. And I'm sure, unfortunately, we're going to see it down the line. We've already seen it with third-party institutions. We've covered that here on this show before, where third-party outlets across Walt Disney World are laying people off right now. Fortunately, Walt Disney World has only called back a certain segment of cast members. Many of them remain on unemployment at this point. I say fortunately, they've only called back a certain amount because if you bring back too many at once, then you run the risk of having to lay them off. As of right now, they're kind of on standby at the moment. So with any luck, we will see direction change, and hopefully more and more people will start traveling again. and start figuring out how to safely live with this situation that we're in. And maybe Disney World can, find a lifeline back to a much better place. Next question comes to us from a dear friend, DJ Goldberg. DJ Goldberg asks, when Disneyland finally reopens their theme parks, how do you think they will manage the huge annual pass holder base when they already have limited capacity? Great question, because for those that don't know, the annual pass holder base for Disneyland and basically Southern California, most people in Southern California tend to have an annual pass, and people even in Northern California have annual passes, and people in surrounding states have annual passes because they come to Disneyland so often. It really is a park sustained by annual pass holders. You do have your big spending tourists from out of town that drop by, and that makes up a much smaller segment of the population. But in terms of overall guest attendance, annual pass holders kind of sustain Disneyland. So I think it's an interesting question when they do finally reopen. Katrina, how do you expect that they are going to manage? Because everyone's going to pretty much be an annual pass holder that wants back in, and so knowing that it's like an 80% difference, and I'm speaking just purely anecdotally. Which I know you love that word, but about 80% or something. I mean, it's a drastic amount of annual pass holders. Knowing that they're all going to want to come back at the same time, Disneyland's already small. It's much smaller than the parks out in Florida, and so knowing that those parks already have that limited capacity, how do you imagine they're going to manage the craze?
Oh man, I mean, even I want to bring it back for them trying to open on the 17th on their anniversary was just stupid.
Really?
Because
every annual pass holder would have shown
everybody,
up.
Everybody wants to be a YouTuber. Everybody wants to step foot in Disneyland and get their magic back, and everybody wants to be the first one to report on stuff. That would have been a nightmare. But I would say, for me and my thought, because again, kind of pass, right? So if they said, oh, annual pass is open, or you could book your reservations like they do at Disney World on this and this day, that thing is going to crash. Mm-hmm. So I would say, if they did it based off of tiers, and, certain tiers got to choose,
Oh, not like crying.
Yeah, no, not these kinds of tears. But
who cries hardest gets in.
Who cries?
Fastest,
I would win so hard. I'll be like, Tyler, throw me down the stairs. I'm gonna cry.
I'd be like, no problem.
You'd be so happy. But anyway, wow. But if they had different tiers.
That was just a joke, Curt. Where's my cymbal crash? Where's my rim shot?
That's right.
Gosh.
It's hilarious.
Thank you.
There we go. Yeah.
So if they had just different, if their premier pass got a day earlier than this pass, then they, or something of that way, they would be able to help it out and have certain days blocked for certain other people. So everybody kind of gets to have that joy of going to Disney. But that first day, I think the first week is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
There's no way to go around it. There's just no way to go around it. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's just there's too many.
That annual pass holder, sort of crush of humanity is definitely something to consider and be, maybe concerned about, because you are going to have a lot of people lining up all at once to do the exact same thing. Tyler, how would you manage a crush of humanity like that, where everybody wants the same thing at the same time? I know that, Disney has kind of found a way in the past to manage the expectations of annual pass holders by offering up some additional perks. And by offering up maybe private parties and stuff like that. So maybe secluded time for perhaps a certain element of annual pass holder, because there are those different levels. So maybe having, for the Premier Pass folks, a 4-hour, late night gathering, and they can limit the capacity that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. I think that's a great idea.
Well, thank you.
I miss those. I think I've briefly talked about it before. Now they do AP days, and they give out buttons and magnets and stuff like that. And everybody is so excited. Oh, I love AP days. Oh, look at this button that I got. And
People do love it.
And I'm like, guys, don't you remember when they used to give us free parties at the end of our
don't remember the Indiana Jones party for the renewal?
That used to be greater. Yeah,
I want the free parties. I don't want to. Take your buttons back, Disney, and they do it because it's cheaper for them. It makes people excited. So
how much does popcorn cost?
What is it, $4.50, $5 something?
Yeah, so for them, they're making tons of money because they just sell this plastic tub and say, hey, you buy it for $15.99. It has an AP on it, and you can bring it back for $1 refills for the next month. And how much does popcorn cost to them? Like
pennies.
5 cents?
Yeah.
Not
pennies.
even a refill.
I bet you that,
so
I
they
honestly,
make tons of money off
I
of
honestly
it.
bet you they don't even pay for the popcorn. I bet you.
Oh, yeah, it's like
I
top
bet you
secret,
it's like a
right?
sponsorship thing where they
They
just
do.
get. They do pay for the
Yeah,
popcorn.
I used to be responsible for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
no,
heard they don't pay
You
for
heard it
soda
now.
though. Is that true or
That's
not?
a myth.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So they do pay for soda. All
there's
right. Well,
some-
then I'm hearing
There's some
rumors that are not
discounts
true.
here and there, but no, I think maybe at one time that was true, and that's
Okay.
how it got started. But yeah, for the most part, no, those are all invoiced.
That's why we
Okay.
have Wade. That's why we love Wade.
What can I say?
But I just that would be a great idea. I would love that. I want parties to be there. How they're gonna handle this, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be really crazy because I mean, granted, Chapek was talking about Disney World more than Disneyland. But during the earnings call, he mentioned that the people that come on vacation and stuff are much more important to them than the annual pass holders over there. So I know it's a little bit different at Disneyland, but you know, if they're going to get people staying at the hotels and they only have a certain amount of reservations that they're going to let people make in the parks, then I kind of feel like they're going to give precedence to the people that are on vacations, honestly. So unless they have a party like you were mentioning, Wade, I don't know how they're going to handle this because there will be a giant just wave of humanity trying to get into that theme park, especially right when it opens. I mean, it's going to be crazy for at least a few months, I think, because the people in California, like you said, are just so much more rabid about it than the people in Florida are at Disney World. And obviously, people don't want to fly here right now from out of the country and things like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle it. Probably poorly with how they do their, you know, every single time there's like a new reservation thing, it always like crashes day 1 and 2 and 3. And
yeah, it takes time for them to get the flow and to understand it and to be good at it, and then eventually it becomes great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes.
Great is maybe a strong word, but
decent.
It becomes working. It works
Decently good.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know how they're going to handle it. I think, like you said in the beginning, this is like the 4th time I've said it. I think the parties will be great.
Well, way to repeat yourself. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try.
We desperately look forward to when Disneyland will officially reopen and how they will handle the annual pass holders moving forward. It's a great question. We appreciate it, DJ, and hopefully that gave you some insight from our perspective as to how things are going to work, especially all of us being annual pass holders for Disneyland ourselves. It's definitely something that I think has been on our mind. How are they going to allow us back in? What are they going to do in terms of managing? Because we are the biggest demographic for them that kind of sustains things day to day. So we appreciate the question and hope that provided you some context. Can Your Report Live finishes up next.
Do you know everything the ghost host is going to say before he says it? Are you ready to thank the Venetians each time you board Spaceship Earth? Can you recite Walt's opening day dedication speech? Then join the Kingdom team today, the influential legacy fan community featuring exclusive merchandise that will alert all who've come to this happy place that you are more than just another guest. You are a trusted theme park fan. Don't miss out. Join the Kingdom team right now by visiting the homepage at kingdomreportlive.com. That's kingdomreportlive.com. And now, back to the magic.
One last live look outside at the Disneyland Resort as we take a look at the Finding Nemo submarine voyage through the tree line and past the monorail beam. You can see there some of the it's the lagoon water. You don't see any subs lined up, and that's usually an indication as to what that area is. So use your imagination. That's where submarines typically are. It's so great to be able to have a bird's eye view into Disneyland. We want to thank HojoAnaheim.com for the Matter Cam, as they call it, to see things from the top of their building on into Disneyland. Programming note for you, by the way. We want to make sure everybody is aware that going into next week, no live show. It's our first break of 2020. We're all taking a little summer break next Saturday, so we won't be with you, unfortunately. We are going to have some replays of different videos added onto our YouTube channel, as well as some other segments, so keep in mind that you can find that there at youtube.com/The Kingdom Report. Also, coming the following week, you are going to see Walt Disney World in Pandemic, a special report of our firsthand experience in Walt Disney World during this very unique time. All the things you can expect, all of the information you need to make the best possible decision for yourself as to whether or not traveling to Orlando, Florida at this point is even something you should do. We are going to give you a comprehensive look at everything from traveling to Orlando to getting to a Disney Resort hotel, checking into that hotel, going to all the theme parks, everything Disney has done, everything Disney is intending to do. We are going to cover it all for you. So that will take the place of our show the following week. So next week you will not see us. The 15th, the 22nd will be the special report from Walt Disney World in Pandemic, and then we will return for you here with Kingdom Report Live on the 29th of this month. So got a little bit of a break here in between, but we certainly want you to follow along with us over on our Facebook page as well as Instagram and the Twitters. So we've got lots of content coming for you still, even while you may not see us here next Saturday. Tyler, Katrina, anything fun and exciting coming up this week?
No, I mean, like, we're going to take like a mini trip because I have to do like a little business trip in San Diego. So we're going to go hang out and see that.
Oh,
yeah. So look forward to pictures on Instagram and Twitter.
But I do have to say really quick that with all this stuff going with like the restaurants filing for bankruptcy and all this stuff, if you can, and everybody says like support small businesses, small like local businesses. If you go to Disney World and you're an annual pass holder or just visiting, do your best and try to go to those dine-in restaurants because they need it as much as, you know, everybody else. Even though they're in Disney, it doesn't mean that they're going to be okay. So I would say if you can, try to do your best and try to go to those dine-in restaurants. Go to Tempanito. It's delicious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that I don't have anything else to say. Yeah.
Oh, well, very cool. That sounds like he agrees. Gared,
I do. Yeah.
Anything to wrap us up?
Yeah. So, my friends, it's sad to say, but I'm going to be leaving the humble roots of Nebraska come this next week. I've been called back to work, so I'm heading back to Florida and all that. So, you know, I've got the hat on.
He's ready for Florida.
I got the suitcase. So, peace out, guys. No,
bye, Nebraska.
Let's go. I'll rent a cabana at your pool.
Yeah, everybody looks ready for summer break here. I gotta say, I'm a little overdressed.
Well, in Florida, it's always summer. The only other season is hurricane, and that's happening right now.
Yeah.
So, but I'm heading back. Got the call back from work. So come this next week, I'll be flying on back, and we'll get back to work, and then I'll get to go back to the parks again and bring you vlogs from there. So if you haven't ever seen a Gared vlog before, now you get to see the renewed one with me having my face covered.
In that goofy mask.
I know that COVID is a dark time, but I am excited to get back to the parks and to report what I see and all that. So be sure to tune in. But it's been a pleasure. If we have any Nebraska fans out there other than Ariel's family, but it's
time
to go. Yeah, I feel like the genie. I feel like the genie was like, I'm free.
It has been a long time coming, that's for sure. For anybody that has not seen our show prior to COVID-19 shutting everything down, Gared used to every week be in a different park for us, be across Disney World property, giving us live reports as things transpired. And he hasn't been able to do that now for several months. And so we're finally looking forward to safely getting back into an older, more comfortable, more familiar motion in terms of these broadcasts moving forward. So it'll kind of be like an entire reset when you see us next on the 29th. Once again, no show next week, and we will come back to you with Walt Disney World in Pandemic the following. My friends, it has been so much fun being a part of your weekend. Thank you for making us a part of yours, and hopefully you will find the magic this week in some capacity and pass it on. Remember, the legacy of Walt Disney lives on because of people like you and me. We will see you real soon.